Okay, welcome guys to our deals of the week for May 8th. And we've got two really pretty awesome houses, I got to tell you. The first one here is at 3134 32nd Avenue North. They're calling it the Station View neighborhood. It's really right in the center of St. Pete. Let's just jump because I want to show you where it is because, as you know, I'm obsessed with flood zones, and most of the houses that I recommend are going to be outside of the flood zone. So it is right here, which is right almost smack dab in the center of St. Pete. So you're literally, maybe 10 minutes from downtown, about 20 minutes or so from the beaches. So, you can't go wrong with the location here. So let's look at the particulars of this house. It is priced at 360 after a nice price drop. It's only a 2-1 with 1,048 square feet. I know most people would love to get that second bathroom. Obviously, the third bedroom would be great, but this is a 2-1, and it does have the full garage. So, if you needed that extra space, there's a possibility of a conversion there. So let's run through the pictures real quick. Outside we see it's got really nice curb appeal. I mean, I love some of these neighborhoods where the trees are very mature. I mean, you don't necessarily want them so close to the house. That would be something that I would look at. Um, I've had a lot of clients when they pull up, they just love the sort of canopy look here. But 50 years ago, this tree would have been quite small and not a problem. And over the years, it's gotten bigger and bigger. And you can almost see, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick this up and draw the line right here. That's maybe a little bit too small. Get another color there. Like right here, you can almost see that there's like a little bit of a mound there, which indicates that those roots obviously are growing out. And there's no reason to think that if it's too close to the house that it couldn't be a problem. So, if you're looking, just the picture of this house looks great, great curb appeal. But, if a tree is within 4 or 5 feet of the house, it's something to consider. Obviously, it depends on the type of tree. So that's just something to think about. But really nice curb appeal. And let's go through the pictures here. We've got, nice little paver driveway, really cute. Small living room, obviously, doesn't look very wide, but got some nice touches with some sort of, shiplap paneling there. And then they spent some money here on this kitchen because that's pretty nice. Really kind of a sort of a cozy, I don't know, say a country kitchen, but it's got a nice, like, sort of cozy feel to it. Looks like plenty of storage. Those cabinets look relatively new. And this is a nice touch. A listing agent photographer were smart opening the drawers there so you could kind of see what the cupboards look like on the inside. Nice little pantry. Looks like they're gearing up for a party there. So not a huge kitchen. Again, the house is just over 1,000 square feet, but looks like the rooms are decent size. A dining area in the back. I mean, beautiful renovated bathroom. I mean, you don't see this too often. This is really nice. Opening the cabinet door so you can kind of get a feel for the size. A little linen closet there. These are small bedrooms, obviously. But looks like super clean. Separate laundry that looks like it was built into the back of the garage. So this would be the back of the garage here, obviously. It's interesting. And then look at this. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous outside. A really nice sort of custom screen porch. And looks pretty big. And then not much of a lawn because obviously it's very shady back here. It'd be a little bit difficult to grow grass. If you really wanted grass, you would have to trim back some of these trees. So really, really nice, cute 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It looks like it was updated. New appliances in 2022. Let's see what else. The 2022 was a paver driveway, insulation, and then Roof, AC, all have been updated, which is nice. So what I always try to tell buyers when they go to a house is don't sweat the details of the condition of the house until you answer the first question. The first question is always, do you like this house? Get a feel for the house. Generally, do you like it? And then you can move on to question number two, which is, um, and this is not to be a downer, but you've got to kind of play devil's advocate for yourself. What might sink this deal if I made an offer? And then you can kind of drill down and see, if there are any flaws to the house, if there's something else present that might prove to be an obstacle. So, the first thing that I always look at, because this is Florida and we've got an insurance issue here, especially with roofs, is that we have a 2021 roof. And remember that once a roof gets to be around 18, 19 years old, the insurance companies typically start to get a little nervous and you're going to replace a roof. So if you buy a house, even if it's 15 years old, you've got a couple of years before you replace it. But if it's 17, 18 years old, you might have trouble getting insurance. And who knows if the seller is willing to negotiate at that point if you're already under contract. So that's something to look at. AC also is 2019 here, so it's only a few years old. Again, this is all part of the 4-point inspection stuff, the roof, AC, plumbing, and electrical. So you have to make sure that the house, quote unquote, passes these things, that the 4-point inspection is marked satisfactory, because the insurance company is going to look at that 4-point inspection. And if anything says unsatisfactory, they're likely not going to write insurance on the house. And then you either have to go back and renegotiate or the deal falls apart. So those are things to look at. Obviously, living in St. Pete, and I've been here a long time, I'm, say mildly obsessed with the flood zone situation. And here, when you stay in the center of St. Pete, you're, for the most part, there are pockets, low-lying pockets, so you always want to check the flood zone code. But this part of St. Pete, pretty rare to see a house in a flood zone, and if it is, it might be part of one street. So no flood insurance required on this one. We don't know from the description here whether the plumbing or electrical has been updated. I don't see anything about that here, so that would be something that you'd want to look at, obviously. And then the other thing, and this is really where you get your leverage in. If you're buying a house, even if you've bought one or two, try to be super conscious of checking out how long the house has been on the market and how many price cuts they've had. So here we can see, going back to the first time it went on the market was back in November at $399, and it immediately went pending and then went back on the market. So the question we would ask, obviously, is what happened there? If it was financing, not a big deal. But if it was condition, was whatever the problem was fixed? Was there an inspection issue, and did it get addressed? So now they've spent the next few months dropping the price, $5,000 at a time, give or take, and now we're down to $360. So this house has been on the market for now almost 6 months, or it's been 6 months on the market. It went pending once, and the sellers are still kind of hanging in there. And it did actually come off the market a couple weeks ago, and then they immediately put it back on at the same price. Sometimes they do that to try to reset and get a better position on the listing sites. It doesn't really work, obviously, because the house is going to sell for whatever the market decides it. So the point is, look at days on the market, look to see if it's been pending at any point and gone back on the market. You don't know the psychology of a seller, but you can assume that they're 6 months into this. They went pending once, they took it off and put it back on. These are motivated sellers. And so would you go in at this 360? No, you wouldn't go in at this 360. I would probably go in, 335, 340, because this price per square foot at 344 is good, but it's not good for a 6-month on the market house. That being said, I think this is a really, really cute house. It's in a very nice neighborhood. I think I'm going to buzz past the crime score. We got the low crime score here. And as I always use this, anything under 5 or under is typically good. Obviously, there are other stats you can check on this, so don't rely on just this. But this neighborhood is not one that I would be terribly concerned with. and it's right dead center of St. Pete, which is awesome. It is a little over 1,000 square feet. You could, if you needed that third bedroom and you didn't, sort of care about the garage, you could probably convert that without, costing you too much money. Um, so this is in the Station View neighborhood, 360. Let me know what you think. I think this is an adorable house. You know, the number of buyers looking for 2-1 is obviously a little bit less, but I think this is a good location. We've got a seller that I think would be open to a lower price than this, maybe 335, 340, somewhere in that range. But make a comment. Let me know what you think about the house on 32nd Avenue at 360. Now let's take a look at house number 2. Okay, this is house number 2, and I chose this one because it is the rare, rare, rare house that is not in a flood zone, that is under 300,000 after a price drop. So let's just go through the pictures here. This is actually a 3-2 with 1,190 square feet, and it is at what I'd say is the ridiculous price of $251 per square foot, which is, you're not going to find that for the most part in a move-in ready house. So let's take a look through the pictures. Curb appeal is, sort of so-so. I think this is one of those houses that if you got it for the right price, that you might do some renovation and put some sort of like front porch, probably even going all the way across here. You would change the whole nature of the house by doing that. So curb appeal, not great, to be honest with you. But at that price and that size, it's certainly something to look at. Super clean inside now. You see these photos are marked virtually staged. So this furniture is not actually in there, but pretty decent sized living room and almost like a little sitting area over here. Good sized room. You got a dining area, and this looks like, I think this is the back of the house where the step down tells me this is where the garage or carport would have been originally. So this house probably was more in the range of 800 square feet, and then they enclosed either a carport or a garage. So, decent sized primary bedroom. The kitchen is galley style, not eat-in, but it does have a counter over here. So, looks like all newer appliances. Bathroom is a little bit small, inside laundry. And the backyard could use a little love, but look at how deep that is. I mean, you could do a lot of stuff back here. You could do an addition, you could do a pool, you could do, a nice big screen porch back here. So, yeah, it looks like this is the entryway here. It was probably the primary bedroom was likely a garage at one point with alley access, and they turned that into the primary bedroom. So, not a ton of curb appeal, but a lot of space. The Ponce de Leon neighborhood, again, is almost dead center of St. Pete. We are about 10 minutes from downtown St. Pete. We're about 30 minutes to the beaches, and there's a number of ways you can go to the beach. And then the airport is on the interstate and over to Tampa, about 35 or 40 minutes. So location is good. And let's see. So as far as the updates go, this was shown as it was last purchased in 2022. So it's got a new HVAC and roof. So again, you asked the question, do I like the house? Obviously, curb appeal is not great on this, but I think something could be done to the outside. The inside looks nice and clean. If you're talking about a 4-point inspection, so we got a new AC, new roof, which is good. We don't know, it doesn't mention anything about electric or plumbing. So that would be something that we would want to find out. This house has only been on the market 21 days, and I don't know if, let's see, we've had one price drop. So they started out 325 and they've lowered it twice, and now they're at 299. So 251 a square foot for a move-in ready 3.2 is, I don't want to say impossible to find because here it is, but a rare find. And I think it's because it doesn't have a ton of curb appeal up front. And if you had some funds to sort of put a front porch on here and spruce it up, you've got a nice deep backyard. You could do something back there as well. So, condition-wise, looks like it's been updated. We're not in a flood zone. We've got a newer roof and AC. Don't know about plumbing or electrical, so we're not sure on a 4-point but it would be something that we would find out. So let me know what you think about this one. I think this is a cute little house. It just probably needs maybe 30 grand worth of exterior improvements, and I think it would just change the entire look of the house. Um, but if your budget is around 300, you're going to be limited. You might find a house architecturally that looks nicer, but it's probably not going to be a recent renovation. So let me know what you think. Make a comment below. Under 300 in the middle of St. Pete, not in a flood zone, is pretty cool. Also, hit the subscribe button so that you can get alerted to future deals of the week. And as always, I'm Steve Reynolds. I'm a local realtor here in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you're thinking about buying or selling, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call, let me know. I'd love to help. And I will see you next week.